Have you ever found yourself unable to stop thinking about someone, even when you know you should move on? Maybe it's an ex, a crush, or even someone you barely know, but they're always there, lingering in the back of your mind like a song you can't get out of your head. You try to distract yourself, you tell yourself to let go, but no matter what you do, they keep coming back. What if I told you it's not really about them? What if the reason you can't stop thinking about this person has nothing to do with who they are and everything to do with who you are? Today, we're diving deep into the psychology and philosophy behind why certain people occupy our thoughts and what it means for your personal growth. This isn't just about moving on, it's about understanding the hidden parts of yourself that are keeping you stuck. So, let's begin. To understand why we can't stop thinking about someone, we need to start with the brain. Neuroscience tells us that our minds are wired to hold on to emotionally charged experiences. When we form a connection with someone, whether it's romantic, platonic, or even adversarial, our brain creates neural pathways that associate that person with specific emotions. Think of it like this. Every time you interact with someone, your brain is essentially taking a snapshot of that moment. If the interaction is emotionally intense, whether it's love, anger, regret, or longing, that snapshot gets stored in your memory with a bright, flashing label that says, "This is important." But here's the catch. Your brain doesn't distinguish between positive and negative emotions when it comes to fixation. That's why you can't stop thinking about someone who hurt you just as much as someone you love. The emotional charge is what matters, not the context. And this isn't just about recent experiences. Sometimes, the people who occupy our thoughts are tied to unresolved emotions from the past. Maybe they remind you of a childhood friend, a parent, or even a version of yourself that you've lost touch with. This brings us to one of the most fascinating concepts in psychology: emotional residue. Just like a stain on a piece of fabric, unresolved emotions leave a mark on your psyche. And until you address them, they'll keep pulling your thoughts back to the person who triggered them. To go even deeper, we need to turn to one of the most influential thinkers in psychology, Carl Jung. Jung believed that our minds are divided into two parts: the conscious and the unconscious. The conscious mind is what we're aware of, our thoughts, feelings, and decisions. But the unconscious mind is like an iceberg, with the vast majority hidden beneath the surface. Jung introduced the idea of projection, the unconscious act of attributing our own thoughts, feelings, and desires to someone else. When you can't stop thinking about someone, it's often because they're acting as a mirror for something within yourself. For example, let's say you're fixated on someone who embodies confidence and charisma. On the surface, it might seem like you're just attracted to them, but Jung would argue that it's deeper than that. This person might represent a part of yourself that you've neglected or repressed, a part that longs to be confident and charismatic. Similarly, if you're obsessed with someone who hurt you, it might be because they're reflecting a wound within yourself that hasn't healed. Maybe they triggered feelings of rejection, abandonment, or inadequacy that you've been carrying for years. This is where Jung's concept of the shadow comes in. The shadow is the part of ourselves that we hide from the world and often from ourselves. It's made up of the traits, desires, and emotions that we've been taught to suppress. When someone occupies your thoughts, it's often because they've activated your shadow. They've brought something to the surface that you need to confront. Jung also introduced the idea of archetypes, universal symbols or patterns that exist in the collective unconscious. These archetypes shape how we see the world and how we relate to others. When someone stays in your thoughts, it's often because they've taken on an archetypal role in your psyche. For example, they might be the lover, representing your desire for connection and intimacy. They might be the mentor, embodying wisdom or guidance that you're seeking, or they might be the shadow, reflecting the parts of yourself that you're afraid to face. The key is to recognize that these archetypes aren't just about the other person. They're about you. The person you can't stop thinking about is a symbol of something deeper within yourself, a lesson you need to learn, a quality you need to develop, or a wound you need to heal. Now, let's shift gears and look at the science behind attachment. When we form a bond with someone, our brain releases chemicals like dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. These chemicals create feelings of pleasure, connection, and security. But here's the problem. When the bond is broken, your brain doesn't just shut off these chemicals. Instead, it goes into withdrawal. You crave the same feelings of connection and pleasure, and your brain keeps pulling your thoughts back to the person who provided them. This is why breakups can feel so much like addiction. You're not just missing the person, you're missing the chemical highs they provided. And just like an addict, your brain will do everything it can to get its fix, even if it means obsessing over someone who's no longer in your life. Nietzsche once said, "You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star." What he meant is that growth often comes from discomfort. The chaos of obsession, the pain of longing, these are opportunities to transform yourself. The Stoics also offer valuable wisdom. They believed that we can't control external events, but we can control how we respond to them. When you're fixated on someone, it's easy to feel like a victim of your own thoughts. But the Stoics would remind you that you have the power to choose where you direct your attention. And then there's Buddhism, which teaches the importance of non-attachment. The Buddha said that suffering comes from clinging to things that are impermanent. When you can't stop thinking about someone, it's often because you're clinging to an idea of them or an idea of what they represent. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means accepting that everything changes and finding peace in that truth. Here are some practical steps to help you break free from obsessive thoughts. 1. Instead of pushing the thoughts away, sit with them. Ask yourself, what is this person representing in my life? What am I really longing for? 2. Writing can help you process your emotions and gain clarity. Try answering questions like, what lessons is this person here to teach me? Or what parts of myself am I projecting onto them? 3. When the thoughts arise, observe them without judgment. Imagine them as clouds passing through the sky, present but not permanent. 4. Instead of seeing this person as a source of pain, see them as a catalyst for growth. Ask yourself, how can this experience help me become a better version of myself? 5. If possible, have an honest conversation with the person. If not, write a letter, even if you don't send it, to express your feelings and release the emotional charge. 6. Use this experience as an opportunity to explore your own psyche. What hidden parts of yourself are waiting to be uncovered? What lessons are you being called to learn? The people who occupy our thoughts are more than just individuals. They're mirrors, teachers, and catalysts for growth. By understanding why they're in your mind, you can transform obsession into insight and pain into power. Remember, this isn't just about letting go, it's about becoming whole. So the next time you find yourself thinking about that person, ask yourself, what is this trying to show me about myself? If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share your thoughts below. Have you ever struggled to stop thinking about someone? What did you learn from the experience? Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep becoming the best version of yourself.